time doesn't heal all wounds. It's one, what you do with the time, and two, some wounds will never fully heal. And he said, thank you for saying that, because I'm a Katrina survivor. I'm 59 and I'm not good.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast, man. I'm your host, Josh Ashford, and as always, got the big homie KB. How you doing, bro?
What's up, baby? Listen, I am extra excited. I am pumped to be here on Dads on Purpose podcast, because look who I got over here.
I'm pointing the wrong.
Yeah.
And starting guard for the Dads on Purpose. Yo, we got Dr. G in the building. I feel like she doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to let Kev. Kev, go ahead, do the introduction for her.
Man, listen. I got my sister, my number one. Man, I can't even have a whole lot of words to say for her. Her heart and her passion for women and for men and for fathers, her love to see young individuals be lifted up and know their value and know who they are. Her will and her fight to help individuals recognize their voice so that they can speak and so that they can feed the people the information that they have on them. I present to you my sister, Dr. Kristen Guillory.
Hey, ditto. I don't know what else to say.
Hey,
ditto.
man, listen, when you work with somebody, when you're able to serve with someone, you know what I mean? Like when you're able to get into the trenches, when you're able to get share life, and that's what Dr. G has done for me. She showed me how do we share life with each other, and then how do we share life with each other as brothers and sisters. And I oftentimes, especially in the Christian setting, we talk about having brotherly and sisterly relationships, but what does that look like? And then how do we walk and lead each other together? And working with Dr. G, one of the things that she really taught me was how to lead and how to lead with heart, I guess would be with the heart and with passion. So it's always been one of those things that I cherished for her that helped me be a better leader, but also helped me be a better brother to my brothers and sisters in Christ. So.
Aw.
Dr. G, how you doing?
You know what? I'm grateful. I am leaning into gratitude with what I just heard. When at the beginning, when you said starting lineup and some kind of guard, I'm like, I think that's basketball he's talking about. You better not go any deeper into sports, but I got you. And Kev, so I'm honored to be here, and that's what it is. Kev, when we first started connecting, it was around expos and things for youth, and then it was things for women. But the main thing was what you just said. We wanted people to see the opportunity for men and women to legitimately be brothers and sisters, because there's so much out there where people are like, men and women can't be friends.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And you showed the women there can be a man in the space and I not feel not about threatened, but there can be a man in the space, but I know he's not like looking at the women to try to holler at him. Because that is a realistic, not fear, but kind of concern in, okay, when men come into space, we got to sit up a little taller. Hey, I got to eat a piece of salad. He's going to try to, but it's not that. So there was a comfort that was there. But no, yeah, I'm grateful to be here. Let's see. I mean, like I said, ditto. I'm a proud aunt, solo traveler, former professor, former therapist turned speaker coach. I've been doing that a lot. I have been speaking for 15 plus years. And ultimately, my overall goal with everything I do, excuse me, is to help people heal, whatever that means. And as a speaker coach, it's been really interesting that I am helping my clients to walk in the freedom and fullness of who they are, which is healing. Because the majority of my clients are people of color, and just no shade to speaker frameworks out there, but the majority speaker frameworks were not created with any of us in mind. And because of that, these frameworks dismiss our essence, and we try to get up and speak like somebody we're not. So I apparently mess people up, because I come out Millie rocking. I might rap on you. I got colorful braids. And the thing is, it's just being who I am. But I know so many people have been told that you can't because you're too loud, you're too this, you're too much. And so we dim our light, which is very painful. So when my clients say, I am walking in freedom, yes, you taught us all that stuff, and I'm making money speaking, which is amazing, but I am free. So I'm just helping folks walk in freedom. Okay.
Look, Doctor, I think that's so beautiful, though, and it's not even y'all. We didn't even got into the topic of the podcast, but I think that's so beautiful that you allow them, that you coach them, that you teach them, like you teach them that just be you, like be authentically who you are, and it's so dope because, and I don't know if you know this, but so I'm a certified speaker by Eric Thomas. Number 69, shout out, what's good? That was my number. But that was one of the biggest things that he taught me, was just like, yo, nobody else can do what you're doing because nobody else can speak the way that you speak. Nobody else can connect the way that you're connecting. If you just be you, there is a market out there. Like people will listen to what you have to say if you're just yourself. Yeah. It's when you start trying to be Eric Thomas, when you start trying to be Tony Robbins, when you try to start be Zig Ziglar, like when you start trying to be, first of all, can't nobody else talk like Zig. That's a whole other thing. But like when you start trying to be other people, that's when you lose that authenticity, and people don't buy what you're saying. And I just think that's beautiful. And thank you for doing what you're doing. I know you get paid to do it, but I don't believe that's the only reason why you do it. So
this wasn't in the plans.
Not at all.
I'm supposed to be doing something way other different.
I did not plan to do speaker coaching, but obedience and the Lord dropping ideas and just sticking with it and all that. And real talk. And this is nothing about the list that you just made, but one thing that I have noticed is when people talk about main speakers, a woman's name is never mentioned. So one of my goals is to not necessarily be that woman. I can though, okay, but I am seeking to add women's names to the list because there's a book I read and there were no women mentioned among like 20 top speakers. It doesn't mean that there aren't powerful women speakers. It just means unintentionally we're not thinking of women in that way. And I am seeking to change the game in this joint because women are just as powerful as men. But the notion is, when I think of keynote, real talk, women are not thought about first. And so, love the list you mentioned, but I was like, there was no woman mentioned. Let me highlight them. And, but I get it. So women do it too, but I just want to kind of make sure that we're doing that.
Hey, I'm with it. No, because I was sitting here thinking, I was just like, who in the quote unquote top 10, who are up there? And I was like, it's not like, you don't think of the most, anyways.
Right.
Sidebar. Go ahead, Kev.
I was going to say, one of the things that I also appreciated while working with Dr. G is what I learned was being authentic is not just something that women struggle with, men struggle with it too. And I know we often talk about being authentic in the male spaces, and we saying we need to be ourselves, but we in our groups haven't figured out how to communicate that and how to shape that and how to form that. And so one of the biggest things that I've gotten to learn, and what I appreciate with Dr. G, is having some sort of framework of learning how to be the authentic you that you are. And I think that's the issue that we're facing when we're talking about being authentic, and people are, people using their skills and forming them after other people, is they don't know how to go through that process of understanding who their authentic selves are, but they can't figure that out without the healing, because now, they're trying to be somebody that they want to be, but they can't because of the hurt and the pain. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I take away from anytime we did a cozy convo, anytime we did conversations for men or expos, right? Was that in order to be an authentic me, I have to go through some healing. I have to go through some processes to be authentic. And so that happens on both sides of the spectrum.
You getting into what I want to talk about. And I don't even think you know it, but that's cool. So here's what she's like, oh, I'm ready. No, but here's what I want to talk about. So I can talk about this. This is my wife. That's fine. She, I got permission to share this story. That's fine. So my wife has never known her father. Like ever. My wife, she's got a white mama. She got black daddy. She wouldn't know him if you put her right in front of her face. Nobody knows who he is. And she had to do a lot of healing to get over that. Not even to get over that, but to cope with that, to deal with that. And that led to a whole list of other lifestyle choices from him not being in her life. But I really wanted to ask you, Dr. G, like what's the first step from someone healing from, because we're talking about fathers, and I think a lot of our troubles in our community comes from being quote unquote fatherless people, or the father not being there. So what's the first step in someone healing from not having their father in their life?
Sure. So thank you for sharing that, and shout out to your wife for her
Yeah.
transparency through you. For real,
Yeah.
I always honor transparency because you don't have to share, and she didn't
Mhm.
have to give you she's gonna give you permission to share. And so honestly, the first step in anything is acknowledging that I am hurt, that I
Mm.
am angry. Very often, anger is the easiest
Yeah.
emotion, but anger is hiding sadness, frustration,
Mm.
confusion, shame, all of that. And literally, the first step is knowing that it's okay
Mhm.
not to be okay. And I think
Ooh.
unintentionally, what we have been taught in our community, whether it's Black community, American community, church community, is you got to be okay all the time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You gotta pull up. What is it? Pull up your
Pull it together.
bootstraps. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta keep. You gotta press for it.
Yeah.
Keep moving. And
Yeah.
honestly, that keep moving and keep pressing and keep going is what is damaging us.
Yeah.
And we've got to know, number one, it's okay to pause, and then it's okay to say, yeah, I'm not good. And so I
Yeah.
remember one of the events Kevin mentioned was Candid Conversations, which is an event for men that I founded, and it was awesome and wonderful. And there was a pair activity that I would facilitate. And there was one of them where one of the guys was sharing some hurt. Like he was just sharing hurt with his partner who was there. And
Yeah.
the partner said, something like, I see you, this and this and this. And the dude, I remember saying, so I thought I was done. Like I thought there was no hope for me.
Yeah.
But this person just kind of told me, I see you and it's okay.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
another dude came up to me and said, "So you the one in charge of this?" I said, "Yeah." I like you just want to do this to help men? Yeah. And he was like, "So I was raised and I didn't trust women. I
Mhm.
didn't trust my mom. I didn't trust this and seeing you okay. So I
Mhm.
can so it's almost I don't know if it's ever been admitted like I don't trust women, but
Mhm.
it's now women are
Mm.
going to be this. So anyway, first step literally is to say I'm hurt. And that's hard to do. Like it's easy to be like, man, I'm angry.
Yeah.
No, this mother trucker didn't,
Yeah.
we can do that because we have permission to
Yeah.
be angry. But a lot of especially especially men and women, but especially those who have been told not to cry because crying is
Mm.
weakness and all of that. So that goes to anger. And then
Yeah.
that anger turns into whether it is sleeping around, drugs, workaholic, whatever it is. But the first thing to say is, so I'm really hurt,
Mm.
Mhm.
sad that my father wasn't around. That's the first step.
That seems so easy.
But it's not.
Nah.
No,
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Because that's because again, it's ingrained in us, in men.
Yeah.
You don't show no emotion. But Kev, you was about to say something.
No, man. Just recognizing that you are hurt is really, to me, sometimes for men it's the hardest thing to do because we don't want to be hurt.
Mm.
And it's so funny because when I work with young individuals, we just did a game this week. We were playing Zip Zap Zoom in a circle, and when kids lose, oh man, oh no, oh. And so we did all of that, just so we can see what those emotions are. And oftentimes we allow ourselves as young men to have those emotions, feel us, and go through those emotions, but not recognize what that was. And so at the end of the group, I said, okay, so I seen you seemed like you was upset. Like, why were you upset? Because you lost? Yeah. Well, how
Yeah.
do you feel when you lose? Embarrassed. Oh, okay. So if I'm embarrassed, do I need to act out in this way? No,
Mm.
I don't have to act out this way. But processing our emotions before we get to angry. And we never, as men, because we don't talk and share our emotions, so we don't get the chance to process and recognize our emotions and where we are. We just go straight to,
Mhm.
man, I'm going to knock him out.
I got a question though. So somebody posted the other day on online. I don't know who it was, man. It might have been somebody that both of us follow, KB. they was like, yo, our schools are so interested in developing our physical fitness. Like we have PE class, but we don't have a mental health class or anything like that. And I'm like, it seems like that's what you're incorporating in your class. And I'm like, yo, like, how do we get that into the classes? Like, how, because, you know, saying Dr. G, you said first step is acknowledging. And it seems like I'm going to just take it that a lot of your clients are adults. Mm-hmm. And it seems like if they learn to acknowledge earlier in life, they would have developed these skills and they would have been in a home and things like that. So I'm like, okay, how do we get it younger? Because we know the first step. We're going to talk about the second step in a minute. But how do we get that at an earlier age? Because that seems to be the missing the missing piece.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. So on a school standpoint, if schools were to implement classes like emotional intelligence, mental wellness, things like that, just to talk about emotions, that's never talked about. You suck it up, you do this, you get over it. But I don't know what to do with that. Like I am sad when kiddos act out in the store and they scream. Yes, it may be a little much, but that is how they are able to express in that moment. Yeah. But then we spend so many years saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You're going to get in trouble if you cry again.
Give you something to cry about.
I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
I don't as a 10-year-old know what to do with those emotions because adults don't. I remember there was a gentleman I knew years ago, was going through a divorce. And divorces are hard. Divorces are hard. No one gets married to get a divorce. Divorces are hard. Yeah. And he was struggling. He was struggling with different things. And I was helping him the best I could. And one day he said, you know, my daughter whose grades, she was 8. My daughter's whose grades used to be so good. She's acting out in school. She's doing this. I don't know. And I said, so remember the other day when you called me and you were really overwhelmed about blah, blah, blah that happened? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I said, you 38 and extra grown and didn't know how to handle that emotion. She's 8.
Yeah.
She's 8. Her brain, number one, isn't fully developed. She doesn't know what's going on. She just knows life is different. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. And so what I appreciated is he was like, well, can you provide some tools so I can support my daughter? Yes. And the first thing I said is whenever she's in a moment where she's quote unquote acting out or just sit and hug her. That's it. Just sit down, meet her where she is. Sit on that floor. If it's dirty, you got to wash and thing. But just sit and hug because I don't know what's going on. So first would be emotional intelligence, mental wellness classes, but even to start in the household, because let's say the schools take a minute to do that. One thing for households to do would be to incorporate. So I'm a very proud aunt of 4 nephews.
Yes,
and my sister and brother-in-law, I really appreciate some things that they do. So my nephew, Callan, who's 7, is very expressive with his emotions. Like he is very like, I'm angry. And they honor that. My brother-in-law will call it, he's very like positively expressive with his stuff. And I was like, I love how you say that. Yeah. And then they will say, now, Callan, you have the right to feel what you feel. You have it, but we can't damage our property, right? Like we can't throw a book. You have the right to feel that. It's okay, buddy. Let's take it. So then they do breathing exercises with them. Let's breathe, Callan. Let's breathe. Okay. Let's breathe. And so it's things like that where it's, you know what, that's real. I see how you feel. And it's doing things like that even from youngsters. So in the household, making it okay for kiddos to feel. Yeah. We're not excusing damaging property. We're not excusing hitting and using inappropriate language, but maybe we don't have to punish it every time and understand to say, so I understand you're angry. In the midst of your anger, you wrote on your wall. Okay. Yeah. Which means there's going to be a consequence.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So there's so many steps to it, but I've seen it happen with. So I started out working with youth. That's where I started. I started working with you. That was my thing. And we would do a lot of let's express it through dance or art. When I have supported community court initiatives, my community court clients, now they would be 18 to about 28.
Okay.
I would either take them to do a little ratchet Zumba, or we would go boxing. One of my clients played football in high school and I knew he was struggling with some stuff. And we just walked. I'm like, you know what up downs are, like burpees?
Oh, no.
Yeah, Dr. G, I do too. I was able to do like 100. Cool, do 20 right now.
My knees hurt.
He was like, "Oh, you funny." I'm not Tiffany Haddish right now. I mean it. Let's go. And so he did. I took a video of it, and he was like, and so what it was just allowing some things to come out that maybe I'm not comfortable saying in words, but I need it to come out through some boxing or laughter or burpees, and then allowing it all of it, whatever the space is at school or at home, as long as people feel safe.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've had people come and say they've got to feel safe. Specifically in my experience working with men, there are two things that when I've trained people who work with men, I'm like, there are two things. Number one, they've got to feel safe. They've got to feel safe sharing. And number two, there needs to be a space where they feel not judged. And that's all of us, but specifically talking about working with men. If a man feels safe and not judged, y'all don't shut up. Okay? People that men don't talk. Who said that?
Look, my dad, OG, triple OG, gangster. Like, if you saw my dad, you would be like, yeah, he's a gangster. And this man will never, when you meet him, he doesn't talk to people. But you get that man comfortable. Lord, like you get my dad comfortable. And every night he stays up, he likes to call people on like holidays, and not just like one person. Like he calls everybody. Like he calls his fourth cousins, and he will be on the phone and he'll be like, "Oh, I need to call so and so, Auntie Pookie, and all of them." And I'm just like, but he will just stay on that phone. And like you said, like if you allow us to feel safe, because I'm the same way. I remember, I think I was like in the third grade. I had to go to therapy. It was a whole other story. But I got in there, and as soon as I sat down, I just started talking because I just wanted somebody to talk to. And they were like, you seem really okay with sharing. I was just like, I know I got a problem. I just need to talk about it.
And so one of the things I'll add is that's why my mentoring has been so successful, because when you create a space for individuals to be comfortable and safe, and all they want to do at a young age, all they want to do is share. All they want to do is talk. I have a young student, and when he sees me, he's just like, "Coach Kevin, blah, 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 blah." And it's like, as soon as I hit the door all the way till I get him to class, and then when he comes to gym, it's just like, "Coach Kevin, yo, race me." But it's just because as a young age, we have the heart to share. We want to know who we are. We want to, but because of parents who haven't had the opportunity to have that safe space and to release, so when they get home, "Mama, shut up." Go to your room. What do you want? Stop asking for stuff instead of just being able to. I think it's a two-part thing. I think there are systems in schools that set up. I know in some districts they have SEL programs and teachings, but on the school basis, it's on the community to make sure that those things are running properly and are being used as a proper space for kids who aren't receiving it. And then number two, or as high as number one, making sure our parents are well equipped and they're getting the social emotional help that they need. And I think during the pandemic, we learned that all of us have some kind of strain on our social emotional health, and we all need help. And I think we can start moving forward on a different path in 2021 and really helping our families and our young people and men to be present emotionally.
Absolutely. I mean, when you said that, I thought about two things. One, I did a training for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I did training for the staff, for the littles, and for the bigs. And the why they started it, or why they brought me in, was they want just to check on people. They wanted to check on the littles, make sure the littles are good, check on the bigs. So I did the training with the bigs first. And it was interesting because I'm a very interactive speaker. I don't care if it's virtual. We don't talk, we don't dance. And so I broke them up into groups, and there's a question I asked. You had to give your life a title. What would it be? But I said, give it one word. A lot of people said lonely. A lot of people said alone. Then when we did the littles, it was interesting. Some of the staff were like, I think the kids are doing better than these adults. And I was like, yeah, because. And I don't want to normalize the statement of kids are resilient, because I think that statement dismisses what kids go through. Oh, they'll bounce back. Yippee skippy. But before they can bounce back, let's deal with what they're going on here. And so what that's shown me, so that part of the adults and kids needed support, but the assumption was that the kids needed more. No, we all needed. And then Kevin, one of the first expos that we did, this might have been before I met you. I was leading a training for the parents. So we were very specific about making sure we supported parents in all of these events. Like that was like a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And I was leading a session for the moms. It was for, parents, moms and dads. And I was talking about, hey, if your child ever goes through a breakup, here are some things that you can consider doing, blah, 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 blah. I started seeing all these hands go up. And mind you, it's parents. And I was like, it's not question time, but okay. And I said, yes. So Dr. Guillory, can we use these tips for ourselves? And I was like, absolutely. I gave these tips to a college group. Like I talked about these tips for 3 minutes. The majority of my talk were college tips 101. They tweeting about my breakup tips. And so all that just showed me was we all need support.
Yes.
And so to y'all both points, it's if our kids are trained up, that's beautiful. But if our parents aren't getting the same, because there's no judgment to parents, I can excuse a behavior, but I can explain a behavior, but not excuse it. But if I don't know how to hear, if I don't even know, I know. So as a transparent story for me, after a loss that our family experienced some years ago, when I told my mom that I was going to counseling, she didn't know how to handle that. No, my mom is amazing, but like, you're always good. I know that was in her mind. And about an hour later, so you say you're going to counseling. Why are you going? Mom, I'm not good.
Yeah.
I'm broken.
Yeah.
And I know that was weird for her to see me in that space, and she didn't really know what to do. She still supported me the best she could, but I know that there's a notion, not just for my mom, but different generations, to move past. And I'll tell you this final story for this moment. Something occurred in the last month or so. And a family member told another family member, or a friend of friends, somebody told someone, you can overcome this. We can overcome this. We can keep going. And my statement was, no, now's not the time to overcome anything. Let's acknowledge that there's pain. Let's acknowledge that there's trauma. The overcoming, the rushing to overcome and move is why we're not good. And I think we rush to that even as adults and parents. And even we try to tell our kiddos, you've been through harder. You can get through this. Yeah, you can, but can I acknowledge that I'm not good?
Yeah.
That's real good. So so let's go. So we talked about acknowledging. I want to jump. What's step 2?
So number 1, we acknowledge that I'm not good. Number 2, I figure out what that means. Then I figure out, am I angry? Am I sad? Am I frustrated? What is it? Put words to it. I believe in that. So Dr. Caroline Leaf, who is a neuroscientist, talks about weakening the toxicity of the thought. So let's say I'm mad at both of y'all for whatever reason. Let's say I'm mad at you. And maybe I'll be mad at you for a while, but if I don't do anything with that feeling, if I don't talk about it, if I don't journal it, if I don't say it out loud, it's going to fester and fester and manifest into something much bigger. Have y'all ever been there where you were maybe irritated at something kind of small, but you don't do anything?
Hey, I mean, we being real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like because you try, sometimes you just try to push through it. Like, oh, okay, you know what? Or sometimes I'll try to rationalize it. Like, you know what? She may be mad, but I know I made her mad here, so it ain't that big. So I'm gonna just leave it alone, and we're gonna go about it. And then next thing you know, I remember last week when you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like it happens, and it's something to work on, but it happens. So I ain't throwing her under the bus. I'm throwing myself under the bus.
Yeah.
But she can go ahead and get run over too.
But that's real though. Like it could be anything. So here's a challenge for all of us, and anyone's going to watch this. Here's a challenge. The next time something happens and you get irritated or angry or sad, I challenge you in that moment to just say it out loud. I mean, if you can, if you're in a space where you can, if you can, go find your space where you can, or journal it. And what I mean by that is, I remember I got a text message one day from someone like at 10 o'clock at night asking about business stuff. I am very clear on my boundaries. I protect my peace at all costs. I don't do that. So I get this text asking me to send some paperwork. In
At
the
10?
past, come on. Shoot. In the past, I would have just allowed the irritation to fester. So in that
Mm.
moment, what I did is I was like, oh no, they didn't text me this late. Oh no, we're not doing this. No, oh no. And here's what's interesting that happened. Because I allowed myself to feel all of it, 15, 20 seconds later, I was fine. And I was able to respond in love and in stern, but I was able to still respond and not so it festers. So when you allow yourself just to say, it don't even have to be the truth. It
Yeah.
could be you're in traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this person in front of me think they Beyonce, whatever it is. But to literally detox the thoughts and say it out loud, whether you say it. So number two would literally be, so I'm not good. Two is putting words to it or writing it out. Why am I not good?
Yeah.
That's step number two. Why?
Yeah.
I'm not good because. A
Yeah.
lot of times we leave off the because. I'm angry.
Oh, that's
Because.
I like
good.
I like the naming it because oftentimes we're receiving consequences that we don't deserve because we didn't name the hurt. We didn't name the pain. We didn't name so we're putting ourselves in situations. Something that could have been simple now has been big because I didn't get exactly what I was feeling out. And I see that every time. It's funny, man. Josh, I told you, bro, like working with these kids again, man, has got me just like with all this. But that's what happens, right? I get a kid that's mad, frustrated. He flipping the chair over. I'm like, bro, what happened? He stepped on my shoe. Man, if you could have came and told me that, could we have done something different?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, but since you flipped over that chair, I need you to go give me 3 laps, give me 10 push-ups. You know what I mean? But it could have been smaller. And I'm thinking even in our situations as adults, man, could have kept that job if I would have actually went to my boss and told him exactly how I was feeling about how I was treated. You know, I could have kept my relationship if I would have just spoke exactly what it was that I was feeling, and then I wouldn't have had such a huge consequence. The consequences could have been minimalized. The girls are back.
My daughter, she's looking through the window. I heard her put her backpack up, and I just open the door. Come here.
Yeah, we'll wave. What's up?
Come on. Okay, you got food in your mouth. Okay, I'll see you later. She just came home from dance class, so
she still got her tutu on in the.
Yep. She does. Tutu and everything. Man, look, she done made me lose my train of thought. But I love the fact that you're naming it. And I was gonna say something earlier, Dr. G. Y'all are, I'm not trying to big myself up, but it makes me feel good about how we're raising my daughter, because I recognize she's 2. And she's just now starting to realize that she has all these emotions and she doesn't know what to do with them. And so kind of like you said, you were mad, or how your nephew does it, he'll write on the wall. Well, she might throw her book or something like that. I'm like, hey, come here, let's talk. I'm like, okay, are you mad? And she's like, yes, I'm mad. And I'm like, why are you mad? And I'll just leave it there and I'll let her think about it. And if she doesn't answer after a couple seconds, I'll be like, okay, why are you mad? And she'll be like, because this, and this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just talk about it. And what I've realized is that has helped leaps and bounds. And I'm just giving her that opportunity to understand why, and think about, yes, she's mad. She's not happy about what just happened. Okay. But it's not okay for you to be doing what you did. We don't throw Minnie Mouse into the wall. You know what I mean? We don't do those things. And so I feel good that we're approaching it the right way. But kind of what you said, Kev, we can't just do this with kids. We got to do this with ourselves. I could have kept my job. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need to cuss out Mr. Jerry. I wasn't even mad at Mr. Jerry. It was actually, my cleaning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we would understand why we are upset, why we're mad, man, I think that our emotional health,
bro, and
it's sanity.
Yeah. Bro, and you said something with your daughter. You asked her why you're mad. and then you let that silence. And that's one of the first things I learned with Dr. G, what she calls, you just need to sit in it. Like she will call me and be like, hey bro, you thought about this? All right, sit in that. And she'll just hang up the phone. And I'm like, dude, like, what do you mean sit in it? And I'm having to sit here and fester and think about the question that you ask, or the my feelings, or how I feel about it. And I don't think that we as individuals, oh, look at her. I don't think
you see my friends.
Hello, lovely.
You said hi.
Hi. She said hi in her fabulous way. Okay.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
With that muffin.
I love it. But
Dr.
I
G,
want to shout both of y'all out and commend you on some things that I just heard in. You said when your daughter comes, your 2-year-old, and a few different things, but a couple things. When you mentioned that you brought her over to have the conversation. And the other thing, when you like, I'm not trying to big myself up, big yourself up. We don't do that enough. Like, it's okay to celebrate and brag on us. Like, Triple E says, not bragging on myself, is bragging on the Lord. And even sometimes you can brag on you. We don't do that enough.
Yeah.
Like, if we gonna brag about being a parent.
Yes.
Brag about saying, you know what? Brag time, fellas. My daughter was mad, and I had a chat with her, and that's braggable.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, brag about your cars. We do that, but you know what I mean? And so I commend you on taking that moment and saying this. And Kev, you did the same with your student, and you were like, hey, okay, could there have been another way to do that? Y'all both did two things. You acknowledged, like, hey, what's going on? Okay, and there probably needs to be a consequence of either, and maybe not every time. Kev, you said, let's go take laps. But what I've discovered, it's unintentional. There's no judgment of any parent or grandparent who's done this, but sometimes kiddos aren't really aware of, why am I getting this spanking? Why am I in trouble? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in trouble because I'm mad, but I got bullied today. I just didn't know how to put it into words.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So there's a technique from a book that I used to use with my classes, that I use some of the techniques with my nephews. And one of the techniques is, like, let's say my nephew comes, you stupid head, something like that. And I'll say, okay. So if we had to do that over again, what might have been a better thing to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not call him that. Okay, cool. Now, you still got to do 10 jumping jacks, but there's an understanding that happens there. So I want to acknowledge that it's both. And even for adults, I mean, even personally, there have been times where I responded in a way that wasn't accurate to the situation because I was frustrated about something else. And it took me, honestly, pride prevented me from, like, saying what it was.
Wow.
Like, I was like, hey, so I was really upset at something else. It had nothing to do with you. I just took it out on you in that moment. And we as adults even need to know how to do that and acknowledge when I snapped at you, when I sent that rude email, when I didn't text you back.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to communicate how I was feeling in the way, and that was the easiest for me. But that's a really humbling thing for adults to do. But it doesn't mean that we don't need to do it, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter how many years have passed. I do believe in this. If there's something that we believe we did in the past, like, dang it, that wasn't the truth. Maybe they don't remember. They remember. So,
go back and tell them.
Go back and just say, hey, I did that. I did that with the photographer's team, where I kind of went off on them. And it was during the year where we lost lost my nephew some years ago, and I just took it out on them. And a couple years later, she reached out to me to do some other photography. And I said, before we even move forward, I need to apologize to you for how all that went down. Blah, blah, blah was going on. And I'm so sorry. She's like, oh, it's all good. I appreciate her saying that, but I still needed to, because I felt bad. All these years later.
I like what you said, apologize, because one of the parenting lessons that I've learned is that I sometimes have to apologize to Kendall. Like, and I don't think we apologize to our kids. Like, I know I've done some things, and then I go to my room, I was like, maybe that was kind of harsh. So I have to go back and say, hey, babe, Kendall, listen, you remember what just happened? I'm sorry. And then the next thing that you said to me that resonated, it's never too late to apologize. And I know for me, when I was in transitioning from being a single person to being a married person, I actually went back some years because that was on my heart so that I could have release, and so that that person could have release as well, and apologize, for some situations and issues. But it's never too late to apologize. That person never forgot, that person's still living with it. And I remember a specific person, and they really appreciated me reaching out and apologizing for that, because they did hold on to it. So it's never too late to apologize.
Never too late. And I love that you mentioned about apologizing to your daughter. I remember my sister said there is nothing more humbling than having to apologize to your 2-year-old. And right. And you still have to, because we do wrong. And then you're right. Going years later, I've done the same thing. It's appreciated. And maybe they say it's all good. Like, I forgot, it is still appreciated. I'm supporting someone right now who wants to he wants to talk to specifically Black men to support Black women more. Like, that's his platform. Hey, Black men, we need to do more for our Black women, da, 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 da. So we're working on this. And I did ask him the question. I said, so are there any women, because he's very honest with this journey. He's like, yeah, back in the day, I didn't see women the way I see women today. He's like, today I honor women. Back in the day, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I said, is there anybody that you think you need to go apologize to, make amends, whether it's a family member or someone you dated or a friend? And he said, I think I've done so, but there may be one or two more. And I'm not saying that it's going to fix everything. However, before you get into this work, you want to make sure, like, while you're trying to save all these women you don't know, let's make sure we go address the women who maybe you did unintentionally hurt. And he was like, yeah, that's real. And then, then he did so and was like, golly. Ooh, I'm so glad for growth.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Like, I need to apologize to some people. But
I saw your wheels turn it when when Kessa, you were like, apologize to the kids. Oh, adults?
No. I'm all for it. Like, I don't have a problem. My wife might say differently, but I really don't have a problem with apologizing. I really don't, to kids or to adults or anything like that. But just going back, yeah. She what? Go ahead.
I was just saying, and it doesn't mean we go back to revisit every single thing. You know what I mean? Because we are human and we've made mistakes. It's not that. It literally is. I think there's a reason that we have discernment. I think there's a reason, right? We're open to the Lord whispering, sometimes yelling to us. And if there's just ever that name or names on our heart, and as much as we try to ignore it, that's happened to me. It was 3 names. I'm like, Lord, but they did me wrong. They did me dirty. I'm not about to apologize. I mean, I was like, no, they hurt me. And I heard the Lord very clearly say, but can you apologize for what you did? Nope. And, one apology, I typed it out and I'm like, cool, I'm going to keep this in drafts. I'm going to go box, then I'm going to come back. I literally could not get up off my couch because I felt the Lord was like, no, you need to hit send now. Okay, well, let me know if you get this. He said, no. You don't need to know if he gets it. You don't need to know anything. You just need to send this out there. That was so uncomfortable because I want to know if you got it. I want, that's still a level of like wanting to control a little something as opposed to no. The apology is, for me, it was out of obedience. And 2, you don't know the impact. You don't need to know the impact. You just need to do it. So guess what? I miss boxing. I did. I miss boxing, and then I hit send later, but I'm like, okay, send. Yeah, I missed my workout. Yeah. Anywho, yeah.
That's funny. But you know what? That is a real release where you're not trying to get any feedback. You're not trying to. You just like, and you don't know if the person read it, if then how they felt when they read it, or you just hoping that they received it. And now you're done. There's no more attachment to it. And it was like I almost got a phrase in my mind that we want to control our pain. We want to control our hurt.
We do. We do. Can I tell y'all what the reaction was? I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Here's a reaction. So it was a gentleman. This is, oh my goodness, 9 years now. Anyway, gentleman I dated and sent this letter. And so he texted me like a month later, I got your got your email. I'm sorry I didn't respond. I said, no. No response was needed. I'm just glad you got it. Then we ran into each other at the gym about a month later. And in the conversation, he's like, I got your email. I didn't know how to handle it because you didn't do anything wrong. Like you
Mm.
didn't do anything wrong. You were great. And then he said, y'all, I'm not ready to be married. Whoa, Cletus. Whoa. That that was not
She said, I'm good. I'm good.
that was not the purpose. And see, you don't know what people gonna think. Oh Lord, I am so glad we ran into each other at this gym.
At
And so
this
I think
time,
I think for him it was, why did you apologize? You didn't
Mhm.
do anything wrong. You were great. And I said, here's the thing. For me, it was obedience. There were moments I know this and this, and I needed to apologize for not fully hearing you in some of those moments. He was like, no, but
Mm.
that's what I was led to do.
mhm.
Nothing about marriage. I'm not, no, we don't, no, we don't need to be back together. But I'm like,
Yeah.
marriage, player.
Oh my goodness, Kev.
Yeah.
I'm about to wrap us up, man, because my daughter, she's in there playing in
You
the
ready?
play. Like
She
my
ready?
sister-in-law decided it was a good idea to buy 500 of those McDonald's play balls, and so yeah, I love
So
her.
you got a room full of play balls. You finna go jump
So
in.
we got man. We got them all kind of different places because we put 500 balls. And so my daughter decided she was going to put them in an Amazon box. So because she likes to get into it and play with them. I don't know, but she also likes to dump them all over the floor.
Come
Nice.
on.
So
That
that's
is
what she's doing
art.
right now. Huh?
That is art. That is
No.
artistic.
I'm fine with it. Which
Oh,
I
I
did
know.
just pick. I just picked them up right before she went to dance class, and now she just dumped them back out. So we're gonna pick them up again. But that's what she's doing, and I can hear her getting loud. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, I
Time.
love it. I
It's
love it. I love
time.
it. Can I give the final step to the
Yeah,
process we're
yeah,
talking
yeah. No,
about? Yeah,
I
yeah.
was gonna come back to you. I was asking
Oh,
Kev,
sure.
is it okay before we start wrapping up? Because Kev be getting mad at me when I try to wrap stuff up. He'd be like,
I said,
well, we're not done yet.
it'd be good. It'd be
It
real
do be good,
good.
Kev, but we can't go 2 hours every
I know.
episode.
You're right. You're right. We can't go 2 hours. So Doc, go ahead and let's finish up that list.
Yes, yes. Okay, so let
You don't need to. You don't need to rush.
oh, okay, cool. So let me pull up my notes real quick. Okay, so um first it was, so this is for any of us. This is for adults, this is for
Yeah.
youngsters, is how do we even deal with, and I'll go back to the top, what led to the question. How do we go back and address, what if my father wasn't around? Like
Yeah.
what if that wasn't around? And I want to offer this bonus statement to any dad specifically who, for whatever reason, you've not been involved in your children's lives.
Mhm.
Whatever the reason is, it is, fathers, dads, please, please, it is never too late.
Yeah.
It is
Never
never
good.
too late. I understand that there might be some shame, there might be some sadness, there might be some regret. I get it. And you got to sit in that.
Yeah.
You got to sit in that and feel whatever you did. If you did something where, you got to sit in that. But you can also apologize. I promise you, I don't care whether the child is 1 or 60, they want you.
Yeah.
They
Mm.
want you. They
Yeah.
need you. I remember I was invited to actually be the Father's Day speaker for this event at City Walk in Dallas. Kev
Mhm.
used to come to that, and the men requested me. They were like, "We want Dr. G to be our Father's Day speaker." So honored. Like, what? And one thing that some of the dads said to me was, I don't think my kids want me. I've made too many mistakes. I've done this. I did this. I've not been good. And I said, let me just tell this to you. They do want you.
Mhm.
What if they don't call me back? Then you call again. Now, if
Mm.
they tell you not to call back, you got to respect that, but you've got to risk them not
Yeah.
wanting to talk to you for a moment. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to continue to try. And
Yeah.
I've seen that happen in different situations with, I want to, but I messed up and there's some shame there. And that shame becomes unhealthy. So it doesn't
Mm.
mean it's going to be easy, but dads, particularly, please be in your children's lives, and you got to work for it. You've
Yeah.
got to
Mm.
work for it. Okay. You've got to work, whatever that means. And again, if you have grown kids, they want you to. So I
Yeah.
have to say that because you mentioned dads, and I do have such
Yeah.
a heart families and fathers, and I will never pretend to know what it is. And if it's something, I'm not excusing behavior, but you have the right. If you're here and breathing and
Yeah.
you're able to communicate, you can make amends. It may take a minute. It
Mm.
absolutely, but also if they don't want anything to do with you, you've got to honor that too. But it doesn't mean you stop loving them and caring for them and doing all that. So
Yeah.
what happens if I am dealing with pain because my dad wasn't around? The first is to acknowledge it. We are talking, number one is acknowledge. Number two is, what is it I'm feeling? What's the why? What's the because? I'm angry because.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Ooh, okay. Number three is to consider dealing with it in a way that works for you, not in the most comfortable way. I don't believe
Mhm.
in comfort in this capacity, because comfort would be, well, comfort is not dealing with it. No.
Yeah.
Is
Right?
it counseling? Is it counseling? Is it art therapy? Is it group therapy? Is it going to work out? Is it building things? Whatever it is, think about, what do we want to do? And then honestly, along with number three, be willing to tell someone that
Mm.
you're not okay. Be
Yeah.
willing to tell one person, a mentor, a friend, a family member, a spouse, that you're not okay. And I would
Yeah.
say one of the final things to do is also, this is not necessarily a step. This is just something to remember on a journey of any type of healing, is that journey has no time limit. It's not that
Mm.
time heals all wounds. It's not that if I go to 10 counseling sessions, I'll be
Yeah.
totally healed.
Yeah.
That's not what it is. It means that I might still always be a little bit hurt, but
Mhm.
because I've done the work, that hurt is not paralyzing me. That hurt is not turning into dangerous behavior. That hurt is not taking over my life. I might still be a little hurt, and that's okay. And with the same group of gentlemen I mentioned with the Father's Day event, there was one guy who was like, Doc, what did you say? What'd you say? And I said, time doesn't heal all wounds. It's one, what you do with the time, and two, some wounds will never fully heal.
Mm.
Mm.
And he said, thank you for saying that, because I'm a Katrina survivor. I'm 59 and I'm not good. But my
Yeah.
family thinks I'm crazy. My fiance thinks I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy because Katrina happened 9 years ago.
Mhm.
I said, were you born and raised in New Orleans? Yeah. So basically, your home of 50 years was ruined and gone in a matter of moments. And it's
Yeah.
only been 9 years. Of course, you're not okay. And that
Yeah.
Yeah.
was just a huge thing for him, because he was honest with me and said, I've relapsed a couple of times because I thought something was wrong with me because I'm not fully okay. He said, I'm
Mhm.
better than I was,
Yeah.
but I'm not. So
Yeah.
anyway, I just wanted to say that, y'all, it's a journey. Honor how you feel. Honor how you feel and sit in it when you need to. And yeah, be gentle with you. Be
Mm.
gentle.
Bro, I'm telling you, Kev, like, I don't, no disrespect to the fellas. I don't understand why we just don't have all ladies on the show, because they really be getting to that bag. Like,
Bro.
y'all just have a way with words. We be over here, like we got some good dudes on the show. We do. We have some fire dudes on the show. But the ladies,
Man, fire every time. And you
can
want to
be.
know what, man?
Go ahead.
I think the podcast has been honoring ladies this whole month. So,
You right.
man, thank you, Doc, for being on and dropping them nuggets and dropping them gems. Like, healing, we all need healing. We all need healing, man.
Is that KB? You got final words? Or you good with that right there?
I was waiting because I didn't want to jump into it, because every time I just jump into it, you get on me. So I was like, let me wait on my
you see
cue.
our relationship. So like I be getting,
But I love it though.
I be getting on Kev be getting on me. We be getting on each other, and this is how we do it. And
But let me
it's all
tell
love.
y'all. Let me compliment y'all again. That is healthy.
Yeah.
That is healthy. So that's telling me y'all are not about to get off this podcast and y'all gonna go tell your wives, look, this joker over here. Okay. Because y'all, for real, because y'all are saying it right now, and it's in love, and it's in, like, y'all respect each other's excitement and how you work and how
Yeah.
you flow. You're not trying to make the other person the other. I think that's so healthy. Like, girl, I don't want to dance. That's your thing. Sorry, that was a flashback. That's what my people tell me, because we dance all the time. But
Right.
anyway, I do. I want to honor that, and just how y'all love each other and flow with each other on this. Yeah, in that space. That's cool.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks. My final words, in order for us to be the men that we want to be, in order for us to be the fathers we want to be, in order for us to be the husbands we want to be, we need healing. We need healing.
Yeah.
We all are going through something. And what Dr. G said, like, some wounds never heal, but if no one else know you have that wound, if nobody else know you're going through what you're going through, then how can you have the support to be the man that you really, really, really want to be? So I believe that this podcast today was important and it's urgent for all fathers, because I'm seeing all of the dads and the men starting to rise up, but we can't rise up in power if we don't get healing, because when you're in the fight, you're going to get wounded again. But I need you to be able to stand back up to fight again. So listen, my final words is no, recognize that you're hurt, name it, say it, let somebody else know. Everything that Doc has said has been important. Listen, some of these things I've even used myself. Like a lot of these things Doc has said, I've used them myself so that I can be a better version of me and I can be a better father of me. And I had to recognize those things and I had to get some healing. So fathers, dads, everybody listening, make sure you get that healing.
I love it. Dr. G, you got anything that you want to leave everybody with?
Gratitude again, just for real. Thank y'all for this platform. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for being examples of amazing dads who you have the right to brag on yourself. Come on, dad. Hey, no, I mean that. Like, it's okay to be like, man, I'm a human, but man, I had a good dad moment this week. So I think that is necessary. And in the world of healing, just to say to ditto what Kev just said, no, all wounds won't heal. And it's okay to live life with a limp. It's absolutely, I'm living life with a limp, right? It's a good limp, but I'm living life with a limp. And it's okay to do so. And remember that you don't have to be everything, every minute, all the time to everyone. You can't do it. Yeah. It is impossible. If you've tried, you know it doesn't work. So it's okay not to be okay.
I love that. Where can they find you?
So you can find me. You can go to my IG. Okay. So Instagram right here, Dr. Kristen Guillory. My website is KristenGuillory.com. I have content on there, a lot of content around finding our voice and speaking, but also things around rest and self-care. Self-care is my middle name. I think everybody needs to implement self-care, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's breathing more, whether it's laughing more, whether it's saying no. We need to breathe. So yeah, holla at me if I can support you in any way. Just slide in my DMs appropriately, and with love.
I love it, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to go do some self-care. My brother-in-law, he is smoking 20 pounds of meat, so that's gonna be my self-care. But y'all, we appreciate everybody out there. Y'all, go to iTunes, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the channel. Man, we love you guys. Until next week, take care. Peace.